The NSF grant we recently received is for a project entitled SWITCH. And SWITCH is an acronym for Southwest Idaho with a comprehensive herbarium. And the comprehensive herbarium is referring to the fact that the grant will enable us to image, that is, take photographs of all of the plant specimens in the major herbaria of southwestern Idaho, which include the College of Idaho, which we call CIC, Boise State University, which is the Snake River Plains Herbarium, and other herbaria at agencies, Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, agencies of that sort. What's interesting about it is it's a virtual herbarium where you have the images online that are accessible to basically anybody in the world. So we will have an image of, say, here's a herbarium specimen. We will have pictures of this, and the data then will be entered that are on the label that include the location where this particular plant was found, who collected it, when they collected it, what it was growing with, things like that. And so what is normally stored away in a herbarium cabinet, like we have behind us here, is then accessible to the world. Our understanding of plant diversity, our understanding of what nature has to offer us in terms of plant biology, is really vouchered or documented by herbaria. A herbarium is a permanent record of pressed plants, and so anytime that anybody is studying the ecology of a region, in this case southwestern Idaho, anytime anybody is studying about where plants are distributed and why and what their evolutionary history is, all of the documentation rests on specimens that were collected in nature. Specimens that we have then can provide scientists with the raw material for finding odd variations that ultimately lead to new species, new varieties, or even just odd variations that might be explained by some situation. So that's to the scientists. Now to the lay public, I find a plant and I want to know what it is. Well, there aren't any resources, and this is really weird, and these plants don't read the books. So where do you go? You go online and you start looking. And so for a wide variety of lay audiences, having internet access to these very important, tediously collected specimens that have spanned the last 120 years will now be accessible. Like many places, we have our unique edaphic or substrate level differences that make the botany of this area unique. Let me give you one example. Out in Sucker Creek, where we just were traveling last week in the field, we have a whole variety of species that occur nowhere else in the world. Now, what are these species? Have obviously evolved under some unique conditions. We don't know a lot of the history, we don't know a lot of the biology that did that, but we do see that there are differences that have appeared on these very different substrates. They provide excellent case studies. They haven't been studied yet really very much. Case studies in the evolution of plant species. Hawaii region as a whole, if you, again, depending on where you draw the boundaries, we might have 25 or 30 species that are endemic to that region. Why? Why are they there? Because of their unique evolutionary history. So that's one example. There are many other things that are interesting about our flora. We have a very wide diversity of habitats. You go out and drive through the sagebrush and you think, boring desert, but my gosh, you get down there and you see on your hands and knees how amazingly variable sagebrush communities can be. And then we have wetland communities. You have a whole host of different species along the Owyhee River than you do, or along the Boise River, than you do in the sagebrush areas adjacent to them. We have a very enormous, rich diversity of flora. The herbarium really started with collections of William Judson Boone, the college's founder. William Judson Boone is known for being the Presbyterian minister and founder of the college, but fewer people probably are aware that he was the first botanist at the college. taught the botany at the College of Idaho for 40 plus years. Well, since his time, there have been 3 other botanists, Harold M. Tucker, for whom the herbarium is named, Pat Packard, my predecessor, and me. 4 of us in the line of botanists since the beginning of the college. During our periods, as the 4 of us have spanned the 100+ years of the college, students have gone out on collecting trips. Part of the study of biology at the Department of Biology at the College of Idaho has involved field trips. Very, very important part of our teaching program. And not just going out in the field and saying, oh, ho-hum, this is very pretty, but actually going out and doing in-depth and rigorous studies. And our students have made major and significant contributions to the collections. So the collections that are represented here not only help the students understand the diversity in the courses they take that study the natural history and diversity of biology in southwestern Idaho, but they are contributing to this wealth. In fact, many of the species that we have discovered in our region have been discovered as a consequence of collections made by College of Idaho students and studies done on those collections by College of Idaho students.